retreat all the way. If you're gonna get caught out by an Uber there, what you should do is try and sticky jump out instead of walking all the way across. To that point, your sticky trap doesn't really matter. Your stickies are much more valuable to jump you out. But your team does all retreat, so they have massive ad here. They should be pushing. You shouldn't have a heavy. When you have big ad and 6 up, you guys should be trying to clear like every doorway instead of committing someone to hold last. You should just be confident that you guys can clear all the doorways and won't get back half because of that.
Oh, okay. So that means I should just go scout then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here you guys had 4 people try to come through one doorway. I think you guys should try and spread out a little bit more or stagger your entrances a little bit more.
Yeah, honestly, that's a really big issue that we have a lot. Like, I try to say, like, to go through different doorways, but we always end up pushing with a lot of people.
Right. So in that push, like, for example, I probably wouldn't have Donga with you, like, leading next to you guys. I would probably have him, like, holding the one door in the shutter and have him, like, just delay a little bit. He can come in afterwards or, like, peek the shutter, and he can split, like, a separate way from you guys while still being safe. That way there's fewer people taking damage from the spam and the choke, fewer people needing to get flashed and stuff like that. And he can kind of watch for anyone slipping past you as well. You guys should have a scout somewhere on this push.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I always call, like, for a scout to be with me when I'm trying to push through. Like, that's, well, he's not here right now, but I'm sure he should.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it should just be default, like,
right, yeah.
That your scout knows that that's his job to be on the Uber. Like, one of your scouts, like, has a higher priority being in Ubers. Just simplifies things. That was a bit strange. It's like half your team is capping. It's weird to just kind of like push up like that. If you're going to be forward, you should like at least have the choke kind of like secured and locked down with traps. And then you can maybe spam some pipes and bait for your soldier that's hiding there. I was just a bit over eager there. Like you guys were like nearly fully charged, and you just charge forward with pipes. That'd be a situation where like you'd want to play your distance and just try and do like charge sticky damage and let your teammates kind of take the space, and you just kind of sit kind of at a safe distance the whole time while they're getting focused. And you just kind of bait a little bit more. It seems like that might be a big thing for you to work on, is just kind of like spacing yourself so that you can still deal like mid to long range damage without taking much yourself. Especially when your teammates are alive.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So on that second point, like our combo's trying to get out, but I think I called to like leave the roamer in to maybe try to bomb them or like just like sack a roamer when they try to push in. Is that like, do you think that should happen, or should she just back up with us?
No, I do think that's acceptable. You can afford to lose probably one person maximum there, so losing your roamer is fine. If he gets the force, it's good. Like you don't want them to get it for free, so maybe attempting to do something is important. But you know, everyone should be spamming to try to support so that you improve the chances of getting that force. The worst thing that you can do is just let them take points for free, because then they're going to start taking like 2 points for free because they never had to pop or anything.
Yeah, and that's another thing I want to, this is where...
Yeah, I like that, but yeah.
Is it demo freeze? Oh, no,
no,
it's
no.
a pause. Okay,
yeah, like I like that, remember?
Yeah, so just fast forward.
Okay. Is he, he's not able to serve for long.
No, no, it's just a bit.
No, not terribly long.
Okay, just go back to let's go to tick 43,300.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Wait,
there.
which tick?
43,300.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So was there a question someone had?
No.
Yes.
Okay, done.
Stalemates.
Okay.
How should we try and what are some ways that we can try and like more effectively break them and like and more so than just trying to have a soldier sack?
Right. If you're on offense, to break a stalemate, some of the best things you can do would be to rotate your heels to the flank and try and overwhelm like some of their isolated players. If you can get a pick or find openings, you can send people behind. Other things you can do is run an off class, spy or sniper, try to get picks through
Okay.
that. You can also, if they're holding close, you can try and go for Uber exchanges to get them to flash multiple people and potentially drop people, and then you can reset and maybe push without them having Uber. And then you could just do the roamer sack play or whatever. Coordinated spam to try and like open up like certain avenues for people to get in. I don't know, things like that. But if you're on defense, like as in you don't have mid, usually it's not going to be on you during a stalemate to break that. Just conventionally, it's better to just let the team that has more points do the aggression, because if you take aggression while you're on defense, you occasionally will. I mean, you're more likely to mess up, and then they get to win the round off that. That's the stakes are higher when you're on defense of taking risks, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys ready to resume?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, resume.
One question though, like, do you think like this is the right time, like, for me to switch to heavy instead of scout?
So what happened was you guys got forced, and
Yeah.
they went down 2. I actually think going engineer would have been a good choice,
Okay.
because they're going to wait for their 2 spawners before they push. Even though they have
Okay.
full ad, they're going to wait. So you would have plenty of time to set up a sentry gun.
Okay.
If you guys got forced and they didn't like drop anybody, or they only dropped 1 player, they might be more likely to push. So heavy might be good in that situation.
Okay. Yeah.
Another good thing to do as heavy here is actually to get up on the high ground instead of outside the spawn. If you can be a heavy like up on top on the nest, it can be a lot harder for them to do damage to you, and you can just retreat over
Okay.
with your medic or deny their bombers. On that push though, so Donga, you were a bit slow to. You actually like nearly ran out of ammo before they pushed. So make sure you like do your resupping and all that before they push. And then when they're Ubering in, it's really important that after they pop in through the choke points, that you're trying to trap the point off, because they nearly capped it, but you were able to like hit pipes, but you can't always rely on that. This is good to keep going with your momentum here. They're kind of holding relatively extended, so you can probably catch them out here. Yeah, that was really good right there. You just keep rolling through, trap off the spawn, then trap off the point. You guys should be fine.
I think this is the part where I died unnecessarily.
You kind of pushed that alone on the right. No one else was anywhere near you. So even though you did like decent damage, you were completely alone. even with your demo down, you guys should still try and keep pressure on the chokes because it's 5v6 and you guys have even Uber, so it's important to not let them through for free still. Now, just set up in a stalemate.
In this situation, do you think it's better for Donga to spam stick or put a stick trap?
I think if he's going to stay relatively far back like this, I would say it's better to have a trap up and then just spam pipes. But if you're gonna like all be supporting forward, then he could afford to have a like sticky sniping, or sorry, like sticky spamming, like M1, M2. But I'd probably say it's better to just trap it off and only spam pipes here. Just because they still can like force their way through if you're not holding it close with the rest of your team. But in general, like if your team isn't holding forward, there's not really much value in you leaving like the current position you're in right now, because it's only gonna introduce more risk. Because potentially someone jumps through choke, or you eat like a bit of spam, and then someone rushes through sewer. Like it just leaves you vulnerable.
That wasn't. Yeah, that wasn't good.
Oh yeah, okay, so you know how they tried to push through but we kind of used into them?
Yeah.
I called to push back in, but like our medic doesn't really have good English, so that's like a
He's working
big
on it.
right, right. But in this position, do you think we should have done that? Because the reason I did that was because they had a sniper. Like
Yeah.
I don't think their push power is that strong, and we can still hold them there.
Yeah.
Especially since they're all funneling through choke, so that's why I said
Yeah,
that.
definitely. I'd say it's the right choice. If you treat their sniper as if they're down one, then, you know, trying to keep the pressure on the choke and potentially even get them to flash with the snipers pushing with them,
Right.
could be a really good idea. So it was the right idea, but I guess you just got dropped.
Sniper just walked under that trap for no reason.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah. Like the reason, okay, I think the better call there, instead of, cause like I called for the medic to like push up a little bit so he doesn't get sniped, but I think we should have just played what's it like in the upper ground instead.
Against a sniper?
Like so he does no. The reason I called for the medic to come forward a little bit with me is so the sniper doesn't have that sight line through shutter.
Right.
Like, do you think I should have said that, or do you think we should have played back in the upper area, like
I
near
think
nest?
holding forward is better,
Okay.
because then the sniper has to peek much wider,
Right.
and you're more likely to be able to prevent him
Like
from
another
getting
reason
shots.
another reason I said to like move forward, because like I wanted Donga to just watch the shutter area. Then we already had people in lobby, so the sniper couldn't like really peek him at all.
Yeah, that's the right setup.
And this way push through IT.
Wait, was this the IT push?
Yeah, this was IT push.
Okay.
And this was forward hold.
You trying to spawn camp them?
Yes.
Okay. So on this push, for example, it's okay to come in the same doorway as long as you kind of stagger it like that and like make sure they get in cleared before you go in. So that was fine there. Though that sticky trap probably should have been cleared before anybody walked in there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone called the sticky trap. That's why I just like, oof, that's a trap. We got really lucky that he didn't like flag that.
So on a mid like this, you want to be careful like using all your stickies just to throw them at nothing. Because there you just like fired 6 stickies on the roof. And
Yeah, actually, yeah, and I know that's like, but that like I can tell you exactly why we did that. We were kind of practicing a mid, where our roamer goes fast sewer, and then I and a scout take their high ground. So I wanted Dong to put like, at least like 3 sticks or something on their high ground to open it up for us, and then we
Okay.
just play around where they go. So then we
gotcha.
have a roamer behind them, and then we can collapse with the roamer and me, and it kind of worked out. But yeah, I think Donga did do a little bit of sticks up top.
Yeah, it's just like, be careful about like just using too much of your ammo when there's no one there, because like if they're clearly not going to be jumping on those stickies, you don't want to just throw all of your ammo there. It's better to kind of pace yourself to like charge your stickies and shoot them at people that you're sure you can hit.
Now, do you ever happen to notice that, like between the stock grenade launcher and the iron bomber, which one's like more suited for spam?
Well,
Like,
the iron bomber is easier to control, and if you're gonna like hit someone direct, like it's usually better because it just has a more consistent arc. It's like, and it has like less drag or whatever, so it's a bit faster, I guess, and more consistent. And apparently the hitbox is like wider on it.
really?
But it has less range and it does less damage with rollers. So if you're spamming like long range and you're really trying to like get some grenades far into like choke points, then the grenade launcher would suit you better. And if you're like hitting rollers at like perfect range, then you'll do more damage with the grenade launcher. So what do you guys usually do to break this down? Just the soldier sack? Is that it?
Usually, yeah. Usually we call that, but in this position, I'm pretty sure because we thought it was only 1/2. So I think in this position we were just trying to play really safe.
Yeah, we
or
just
something.
hold like
Yeah,
to win
we
like the
didn't
round.
realize at the start that the UGC pretty much went with ESCA match rules.
With 2 halves?
Yep, 2 halves and first to 5.
Wait, you said you were playing safe and then you
Yeah,
guys
and we
just
decided
attacked.
to join, like to push, I guess.
Yeah.
You got their medic or something and then everyone went in. Is that what happened?
I think that's what happened. I'm not sure.
I feel like if heavy seen that originally, this would have played out a bit more different.
Yeah.
Because at this point we were just trying to like stall and stall.
With these sticky traps, I think you should also try trapping like the sides of choke, not just in the choke.
Mm-hmm.
You can set up a really good trap that's hard to break by trapping both the left side and the right side. So in a situation like this, if you like have a pretty good idea that you're gonna get forced if you try to retreat, you guys should probably try to just Uber sooner there. Because you end up giving up the ground that you end up having to retake. You might as well just Uber before giving up the ground, and try to minimize the number of people that are getting dropped. That's soldier you should have been keeping track of after you launched him away. But you guys did a good job holding. They kind of, what they're messing up is they're just trying to even Uber right into you guys, and they're letting you guys counter pop really late. So they're doing a pretty bad job of, like, they're doing that on almost every push right now. They're just like Ubering straight into you guys. So as long as you guys can like kite away and have everyone like avoid dying to their Uber and get the counter Uber, you're gonna just wipe them every time.
Oh, John needs to be dragged back into the Discord.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Hello? Yeah, my power
Yeah.
went out.
Oh.
That was hella weird. It's like not even raining or anything. No storms.
So then on that push, you guys ended up Ubering in, but they ended up getting Uber in time. So your
Mhm.
advantage wasn't really big enough to push on. If you want to make sure that your ad is big enough, you need to be like be building really hard after their medic dies. Like after you guys held last and their medic died,
Mhm.
you guys should have been building like the whole time you were on second or pushing out.
Okay. Mhm.
And that was the luckiest pipe of my life.
Yeah, it's pretty unexpected. But here there's 50 seconds left. Honestly, pushing at this point is it can be kind of risky,
Mhm.
but I guess if you have the numbers, I guess you might as well. But just sometimes the chaos and the pressure here, like it can lead to bad things. That the risk isn't really worth it because the chances of you actually winning this round are very low with a minute left. But the possibility of losing is very real. I see there again. You guys had your heavy stay on last.
Mhm.
That's the other thing about it is like if you're risking pushing out with 1 minute left and you're leaving one person on last, the chances of your push failing are going to be greater. So I
Okay.
think that's another reason why it's like either all in or all out, unless there's like people like unaccounted for that are going to be back camping.
Mhm.
But if you haven't like, if you don't have any reason particularly to worry about people back capping, then I don't think you should. Like, for example, there you knew they were all in front before you guys pushed.
Mhm.
Then you guys got 2 picks, so you know there's 4 people and they're all in front still. So the heavy
Okay.
is kind of unnecessary, especially if you clear all their entrances and the people that are pushing calls everyone they see. That's kind of the way to give people confidence to push off of last is if you can get vision of all their players. So like when they're 4 up there, the you know, as early as possible, someone who pushes through calls, okay, I see all 4 of them. So
Mhm.
you don't have to be worrying about a back cap.
Okay.
All right. So I guess we'll just fast forward to the next
Yep.
half.
Okay, it's looking like it's gonna be at 16, 60,
160,000.
What'd you say?
169,000.
Okay.
69.
Oh nope, it's way before that. So should I 60? I'm 69.
So 169,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
should be enough. Okay, so maybe like a 2,000 back. So like 60, 168.
Oh, 68.
Oh, sorry, what tech?
168
60,
No, it's before that. Go
before.
to 167,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not there yet. Taking a while.
Are we ready?
Oh, not yet. I'm still loading up.
Okay.
Yo, so is it 3-1 going into the second half?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, almost there. Okay, there. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Let's resume in 3, 2, 1, go. You notice all those stickies were short. Wow. Okay, those pipes were.
Yeah.
But all the stickies you shot at the roof, they were slightly undercharged.
Yep.
They all blew up in front of that guy. So just adding that extra like fraction of a second of charging, and just like waiting till you're sure that your sticky is like gonna collide before you det is really important. So here you guys are down a medic, right? I don't know why you're trapping the spawn. They didn't cap mid, so they couldn't possibly be in there. You should be trying to trap up the choke points right now. If you guys are weak and you don't have heals, if they peek and try to fight you with heals potentially, then that's the only way they're going to win. So you just want to try and slow them down in the chokes as soon as possible. So your first priority should be trying to lock down these doorways. So they have Uber and a sentry. You guys are popping first here while down one. Not a good idea. Once your soldier gets in, like if he's not gonna make a play, that's fine. Just let him die. You guys can peek and spam, but you shouldn't be Ubering there.
sessions today?
Yeah, I do, but not right now.
Okay.
I can go a little bit over,
Okay.
so we can probably finish this demo. So, again, you ended up like kind of getting a little bit impatient or something, so you ended up pushing forward towards the choke, and so you got isolated and you ended up taking a bunch of damage. But when you did that, you didn't have choke like trapped off, so they were still able to like, peek and walk through. So it's just a matter of kind of like standing your ground, be patient there, and yeah, just let them make a mistake, let them force someone in or something. After you got that first pick, you should not have re-peeked that doorway, because you should have expected them to Uber right into you. Pretty lucky to have not died to that Uber. Your medic should have saved you. You did a good job surviving that for a long time. But I still think you keep getting too close to that doorway when they have Uber.
Yeah.
I think you should be a lot more careful with like peeking anywhere near that, because if they happen to be there, they can catch you out pretty easily. Or you need to start getting in the habit of sticky jumping away if you see that they're in there with Uber. I think that's something that I don't see you do hardly at all, is sticky jump away from bad fights. Here again, you guys should have a scout on the Uber, but they end up getting Uber again, so, or they had Uber the whole time, I think, actually. So you guys keep taking these Uber exchanges, just like Uber v Uber into last. It's usually not going to end well.
For that one, I actually tried to call a solo. I wanted to try and see if I can force them and like get a pick. Do you think I should have just like played passive?
I don't think you should. Well, okay, if you're gonna go for the solo, do it when they're like clumped up and close to the choke. But if there's like kind of far back on the left and there's only like one guy with the med and there's a sentry on the other side, like you're gonna have a really hard time doing anything as a soldier against that. That definitely
med
should
truck.
not have worked because they had Uber that whole time. They should have popped. Again, you guys keep doing this. I feel like this is probably like one of the biggest things that you guys are not doing right.
I think the reason we went in there is because we had a pick.
What you should be trying to do is turn your one pick into multiple picks or a force rather than getting one pick and then popping.
So like, how do we do that then?
So you guys came in left and you just want to like play the positioning and play together and focus fire people and try and like isolate any of them if you can. You just want to hold on to the Ubers a little bit longer. If you can get in for free off of one pick, then just take some positioning and try to get another pick or force them or something like that, instead of just wasting your Uber off or like just using it really fast. Because you always got to consider like what if you pop the Uber, like what is it going to accomplish? If the answer isn't they're going to pop immediately or like we're going to get a bunch of kills, then it's probably not worth popping.
No, is trapping on ramp decent?
On where?
Ramp on choke, port second.
You keep using the same trap. I think it's that trap would be good if you were like forward holding it, but if you're just kind of more passive, I think you should trap the sides of the wall. Because you're more trying to like bait them into walking into your trap. If your trap's just out in the open like that, no one's ever gonna run on it.
Unless you're stupid. Okay.
So I feel like we just keep seeing a lot of the same stuff over and over again. So I don't know if it's really going to be necessary to watch the rest.
Yeah,
It's
and
more, yeah. It's like the
Mhm.
same stuff, and then we eventually start to just. It gets really stally a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys don't mind, I think we can end this demo right now
Okay.
and kind of summarize the things. So
Okay.
number one is when you guys are even in Ubers, you guys should try to get some sort of advantage before Ubering.
Mhm.
Ideally, you're gonna force them with a suicide or something like that. You can send one man suicide, or when pushing last, sometimes a two-man suicide is good. Or you can spawn an off class and try and get a pick, or you
Okay.
can try and rotate your heals to the flank to try and get picks over there, get people behind, things like that. When you Uber first into them when they're on defense and they're like not close and they have Uber too, they're
Mhm.
just gonna counter pop. They're gonna kite you first, then they're gonna counter pop. They're chasing you out. They're gonna wipe you or get a bunch of kills, and then it's gonna backfire on you. So I think you should be a little bit more methodical with the pushes when it's even Ubers. When holding second, Donga, I think you should be trying to trap up the chokes like on the sides a little bit more, just to bait them in. Focus more on pipe spam at that point, and then you should keep like a scout up on the high ground so that if anyone tries to bomb in, he gets denied, and that'll be a lot more stable hold for you guys. When holding or when pushing out of last, try to avoid having one person staying on last on process specifically. Process
Okay.
is fairly easy to clear. Some of the other maps like Badlands, for example, it might be good to leave someone on last. I
Mhm.
usually like to leave Roamer on last because I think Roamer generally is like the least necessary for pushes a lot of the time. Scouts are too valuable for
Okay.
camp time and for getting information and all that. So I usually prefer to leave a Roamer, if anything, on last if we're going to do that. But if you guys can account for all the enemy team, then you don't need anyone on last. You should just be pushing out. And do you guys have any other like questions, concerns?
Yeah. Okay. So I know you said like to suicide in on last. So I know they had like a sentry gun the last couple times. So how do we suicide against? How do we like sack against a sentry gun?
So you can coordinate spam on the sentry before you do the sack, just to get it down, or you can just get info about where the sentry is and try and get your people in from the opposite side. So they're on process, like sentry's back right, and their combo's on left, then just going into them left is no problem. Regardless, a lot of times, even if your sack is unsuccessful and the sentry does shut you down, sometimes the point honestly is for you to die so that they try to attempt to push, and you can force them into making a mistake. It's just sort of the idea is to kind of bait them out by losing two players, but your team needs to be set up properly with like sticky trap and ready to counter pop and things like that. Can't drop any more players.
Yeah, I know you said like sometimes on last on process it's even good to do like a double sack.
Yes.
But say we get nothing out of that double sack, you think we should kind of like be more passive, like choke, like try to get out of second, or just still hold second?
I think you can still attempt to hold. If you still have soldier, demo, medic, and scout, you can still hold it because your demo can lock down like at least two doorways and then spam a third, and then your soldier can also spam, and then your
Okay.
scout can focus fire. So it's just important that you guys are like focusing together and holding the choke points. If you let them flood in, then you're gonna get overwhelmed and it won't work.
And also, well, last thing. So, say we sack a roamer or something and he gets nothing, and they just hold last, and then a roamer spawns up. Like, do we do the same thing, or do you think you should like what should we do? Like off class maybe?
like having spawn off class.
You said
If they just stay last, like
Oh,
they
they
get the
stay
pick
last.
and they just sit last.
if they just stay, then you can either try again or spawn off classes. Yeah,
Okay.
try and get it like a pick or whatever.
good for questions. I don't know about anyone else though.
No, I don't have any other, I guess.
Well, I suppose for our upcoming match Wednesday on Snake Water, any like tips or things we should look out for on that?
On Snakewater, well, I guess some advice I could give you is that if you're trying to like defend your second and they're likely pushing with momentum,
Okay.
again, you should try to prioritize getting pressure on the chokes. Generally, a lot of teams will, at least at the higher levels, they'll try to drive push through yard and like take over all that space. So always making sure you have traps on like choke points first and foremost is very important. On mids, it's important that you get roof control, deny the soldiers, like get info up there. I like to have one scout top left to get that info and be in a good position to deny soldiers. And then it can work really well to just have like a countdown or like a timing that both your soldiers are going to commit, and then you guys are aggressive like straight across the point. Because the point is fairly small, you can just heal your demo and walk like straight across. When pushing out of last, if you know, to make sure you don't get back capped, just make sure you watch lower. Usually I default having the roamer clear lower. Other common back cap spots would be like through the right side of upper lobby through Z. Other than that, I mean, some good like spam spots would be like soldiers on top of the pipe on second. You can spam into saw from there. On mid, you know, when they're trying to push into you, making sure you have people that are like spotting like sight lines into saw, or spotting from like you can spot kind of from kitchen to lower. If you push like the aggressive kitchen, you can spot that sight line. Have people on the roof spotting catwalk, just so you get early calls on where they're pushing.
Okay.
And then on last, another good thing to do is to have, if you're gonna have a sniper, make sure your sniper's, you know, close enough to the spawn so that after they pop, you can swap off. I like having the sniper either like at the left spawn, just sniping the shutter, and potentially you can like they open the shutter before they pop, and then you kill someone, or someone goes in the drop down, you can just see it. It's a straight hallway. That works really well if you have a sentry as well on the left side, because then they have to worry about flashing a lot of people.
Okay.
Now for demo, I should be pretty much on the right side and having choke traps on choke.
Well, so what I like to do as demo is make sure that you have traps. So someone should be spotting where they're coming, and then you trap that doorway. And then as they Uber in, you start trapping the point, because it's really hard on Snakewater to keep control of the point, because a lot of times people get pushed in spawn, they have to rotate across. So you want to make sure the point doesn't get capped while people are rotating away.
Okay.
Yeah, another really important thing on Snakewater when pushing last, try to avoid being in the low ground. So a lot of times people will push in from like left to right, and then they'll always end the fight in the middle, like on that slope, on the low ground there. Try to avoid doing that. Try to always end on the height on one of the sides.
Okay.
And, like, claim a side and take it over.
Yep.
Now for like the roamer, like the real fast roamer roll on, do you ever have Blaze do that?
On which map?
Snakewater, where the roamer he goes real fast and goes down through main and then jumps across point, and then he gets to the other enemy's saw.
Lower, right?
Yeah, he'll do some like aggressive skip jumps sometimes, but usually not like way before we get to mid. Usually he'll wait for a buff before he does it. Like he'll arrive with us.
I think that's all. I mean, that's all I have for now. Anybody else?
Not that much, I guess. Nothing else, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys happen to get a Snakewater scrim in, I'd be happy to schedule another time to check it out with you guys.
Okay.
Or just go over the map if you guys are feeling lost. But that's about all the time that I have for today.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks
Yeah.
for the advice and the demo review.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Happy to help. Good luck, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See
All
you.
right. See you. Okay. Ooh, useful info there.
Yo, what up?
Yeah. What up?
So what do you think?
Lit.
Yeah, useful info there.
Yeah.